All right, so I know we put this thing together pretty quickly, but we're pretty well built to be able to go after clients. Now, what I wanted to start with, and hopefully the questions are going to be answered by the time I'm done, but I wanted you to write down just a couple of the main objections that you think, or the main challenges that you're going to have, or that you think that you're going to have when reaching out to new clients. I want you to write them down on the pen and pad that you got, and we're going to start initially by going over some material that we created yesterday that I think are going to solve a lot of these challenges. Like when I sent the initial message about in Slack, naming a couple of the challenges that you were going to face when you were reaching out to new clients, immediately everybody jumped on and said, I want to be on the call. That really wasn't the initial intention. We just wanted to see what objections you were facing with challenges that you were coming across. But I'm getting the sense that there's not a whole lot of confidence in what it is that we're trying to accomplish here and how we're trying to do it. So I'm going to try to answer those questions as we go through our presentation today about how we want to reach out to new clients. The first thing I want to talk about is the strategies that we're going to use. And I know that I've discussed this in all of the interviews that we've done because I wanted it to be clear about how we were going to move forward. The first strategy that we're going to implement is going to be going on to Google, searching for industries that you may feel more comfortable discussing, whether if you're a hobbyist, if you like golf, or if you're a pet lover, you want to go look at pet stores, for example. I want you to search in your local area, pet stores or golf supply stores or service centers in your local area. Actually type that into Google. And then I want you to go to the second or third page of Google, and I want you to look at companies that are ranking underneath a lot of the competition. If they're on the second or third page for sure, then they're not really competing on Google. They're not really competing for lead generation. There's more like a placeholder for their website, which isn't very effective. So I want you to find those companies, and I want you to try to target them as sources for new business. We've created a couple, we'll circle back to this in a second, but we've created a couple of emails that I want you to be able to use to touch base with those clients after researching and investigating their digital strategy, meaning their Facebook and their Instagram mostly, and then where they're ranking on Google, and trying to convey to them that if they're not going to be more aggressive with their digital marketing, then they're most likely not going to be able to compete moving forward. It's going to get even more and more competitive. If you see on our Facebook page, our cover page is a boxer, and literally the tagline is giving small and medium-sized businesses a chance to compete. That's the whole premise of this business. I want to emphasize, and this is going to be the introduction for any contact that you make, that we are a digital strategy firm, digital strategy company that integrates sales consulting strategy. That's our differentiation. A lot of digital marketing agencies do not get inside the walls of people's businesses. For example, and I've used this all on our interviews, was trying to convey an example of a dentist office. I have a very low pain tolerance. I hate the dentist. I would rather do anything than go to the dentist. So I look for companies who have reviews and who have mentions of taking care of their patients and their pain threshold, that had pleasant experiences going to the dentist. I want to be that company that works with the dental offices and actually conveys to the people that are working there. They need to mention to the clients who call in, what made you call us today? Did you see that we're very particular about how we take care of our clients here, and making sure that do you have a particular pain threshold? If I call that client, that dentist office, and I have already identified what their reason for calling is, I've got that customer. I'm going to pay whatever it takes to make sure that I see that dentist office. And that's the missing piece for most digital agencies, is that they don't work with the businesses to identify what their strengths and weaknesses are and what their sales strategy is. That's what makes us unique. All right. So that is something that I want to make sure that is clearly identified, and a focal point of this whole presentation is making sure that we're conveying to the client what makes us different. That will allow you to get at least someone to listen to what you have to say. because there is some, with any product that you're selling online, there's always skepticism, and digital agencies maybe even more so than most other companies. There's a lot of initial skepticism. You have to provide some value and a differentiation a bit to what it is that we're doing. All right, so Adam, I want you to be able to pull up the discovery phase client discussion. This is a sales, it wasn't intended to be, or maybe this client phase discussion was more for internal initially, but a lot of the content that Todd, Lena, and Adam created was for our own marketing purposes that I think will serve us very well in you guys having the tools and the ammunition you need in order to identify and ask the right questions to create a conversation. It's not to go through 30 different questions and boring them on the initial call with different topics that you want to discuss. It's only to create an initial relationship, to get the client thinking, to establish some credibility and trust. All right, so let's just talk about a couple of these. All right, can you provide an overview of your company's mission, vision, and objective? That's not going to be the first question that you ask. These are not necessarily in any order. Every salesperson is going to have a different style and a different strategy to how they want to approach a customer. You have to find the questions that you feel that come off your tongue the slickest, that come off your tongue the fastest, that you feel that whatever they're going to answer, you're going to be able to respond. What are your short and long-term business goals? That's probably at the end. Who are your main competitors and how do you differentiate yourself from them? That would be a question that I would consider being at the top of my list. If you're able to get through identifying who it is we are and what we do, that's a question that I would have at the top of my list. What digital channels are you currently using? Website, social media, email marketing. They may have one or two. The goal is for them to have a well-rounded plan. That's a question that I would have at the top of my list. How would you describe your company, cultures, values, and environment? The response that most are going to give you is, well, why is that important? You're a digital marketing agency. No, Mr. Customer, as I mentioned, our differentiator, what makes us unique and particularly skilled in helping businesses scale is we get inside the walls of your business and make sure that you have a consistent message online, as well as the message that you're sending out inside the walls of your dealership, whether it's salespeople, whether it's secretaries, office managers, whatever the case is. That would be something that I would probably have at the higher end of my list. How do you plan to maintain and update the digital assets you create? These are all to create conversation. They're not necessarily intended to close. We will circle back to this when we do our audit, and we'll ask them particular questions that are digital marketing specific and sales strategy specific for their particular business. One thing I want you guys to make note of is that we want to differentiate ourselves from all of the scams that they see online. Well, I saw an ad on Facebook that says that I can scale my business 10 times if I sign up for their $99 a month subscription platform. Or I found somebody who will build my website for $495 and they guaranteed me that I'm going to 10x my results. The objection, or the way to overcome that objection, is that it has to be a scam. Because the only way you can actually increase a business's sales is by knowing who the hell that business is. If a digital marketing agency, if anyone is saying that they can 10x your business and they haven't determined who your business is, what you're doing well, what you're not, areas of growth, there's no way that they can make that claim. So by definition, those are scams. And in a lot of cases, you're going to find that people are saying they have a distorted impression of what it costs to actively participate in e-commerce because they've been presented with false information. And that's another way that you guys can create credibility in a relationship with a client. So this is a discovery phase questionnaire, but it's also more like an initial sales script that I want you guys to fill in the blanks with. Your personality needs to be incorporated into the sales script. You need to identify what are the likely objections, and that will come with practice. The only way that you guys are going to get good at this is if you do it 100 times daily. Now, everybody needs to work under Richard to figure out when they are available and how much time they can invest efficiently so that we're getting the most out of the time that you're putting into the company. You're going to face a ton of no's when you first start. That's just unavoidable in anything that you're selling and anything that you're doing. The point is to get to those no's so you get comfortable with answering them. If you never hear the no, you don't know how to respond. So that's something that I want to make sure that not only do we have this discovery phase questionnaire for you guys to be able to look through and be able to reference when you're making your phone calls, but I don't want to overlook the fact that you need to have some of your own personality in here. Describe who you are, what our company is, what we're offering, and why they can trust you. Sales is all about trust. Anything that you're doing is about trust. That's really what any sales is. Why am I going to trust you with my business? In order to overcome that, you have to be transparent. You have to be honest. I don't want any of you lying to clients. It's the worst way to perform sales. We're not a gimmick. We're not a scam. So I want you to incorporate your own personality and your own strengths into this discovery phase. So this is something that we will be offering for all of our salespeople to go over and to learn and to work through as they're going through their calls. Anything that providing you, we do need you to sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. This is the cultivation of like 10 years of experience that me, Adam, Todd, Richard, and Lana have in sales and in their experience in digital marketing. So we do require that you will sign NDAs before we hand this over. So I do need you all to agree to that before I can share a lot of this content. The next content piece that I want to go over is let's do the client digital marketing phase. This is more to get a sort of a tent understanding, a broad understanding of what it is Second Team is offering. First, it's why you should trust us with what we're doing and how we're going to execute on what it is that we offer. So there's different, I like to call them almost scopes of work, but I don't want to confuse you because scopes of work is actually a contract with a client with what it is we'll be performing individually. But this appears to me, and I think it would be beneficial to you to relate to it as what a scope of work is going to be involved with what it is we're offering. Executive summary. So providing a brief overview of the client's current digital marketing plan, including their main objectives, target audience, and key strategies. That is obviously very instrumental. That's key. All right. That's something that you can also incorporate into what we just talked about in the discovery phase. That could be included if that's something that you feel comfortable with. Situation analysis, summarize the findings of your analysis of the client's current digital presence, target audience, and competitors. Objectives, what their target audience is. That's Lana's territory. Identifying who is most likely to purchase their product. Finding the right target audience to put your product or service in front of and capturing their attention in order for them to convert on sales. Strategies and tactics. We have numerous strategies, and every business is different. This is another thing I want you to write down with how they're going to approach their strategies and what their tactics are going to be. For instance, in automotive, it was very aggressive. It also depends on the market that you're in. In the Washington, D.C. and Virginia area, if you weren't aggressive, then you most likely weren't going to succeed. You were going to fall at the bottom of what we called the sales. We had different sales competitor marks, and you'd be at the bottom because you weren't competing with your competition. There are other businesses that need a softer touch. I would say golf supply stores probably need a little bit of a softer touch because they have a higher end clientele. Who plays golf? Rich people. Who plays hockey? Typically rich people. So you have to have a little bit of a more tailored approach to the way that you're identifying who that customer is and how you're going to capture them as a business. And that's why I say every product and every service is going to be different. And the business has that information, or at least they should. And if they don't, then that's something that we're going to help them with by pointing out, identifying what interactions that they've been having inside the walls of their own business so we can market them appropriately. It doesn't make sense for us to market the same way that you would do for automotive or a service center, automotive service center, as you would for a golf supply store or a country club or a eyeglass store or something, anything that might be a little bit more niche, pet supply store. So you're not going to actively pursue somebody who's looking for, a certain dog cage. You're just going to set them off the wrong way. So there has to be subtlety in the way that businesses are approaching based on what feedback they're getting from their customers. And if they're getting feedback from their customers, content plans, that's a lot of our social media strategists, Sienna and Tess. They can be useful resources. I want you all to work as a team. So there's no reason why you can't ask someone a question that's within the Alliance team to help you close a deal. When we were in automotive, they always paired us with somebody. That was really the only thing that they did was watch this person do it for an hour or 2 hours and then go do it on your own. But you have to work together as a team to get maximum results because everyone has their own strengths and their own weaknesses, which you find out through trial and error. Timeline and milestones, KPIs, key performance indicators. It's getting a little bit more specific. I don't want to go into the detail of that, but there's plenty of material in here on the second page, competitor monitoring. That's something I really want you guys to focus on because I think it gets overlooked very often, is keeping close eyes on your competitors. That's typically why companies have trouble scaling and reach ceilings because they aren't able to push through what their competitors might be doing a little bit better. Once you reach a certain ceiling or a plateau, it's a lot of the reason is because you're having issues with competitor monitoring. Marketing automation, everything is automated now. We had to do it a lot of old school way back in the day. A lot of it's automated now. Lead generation and nurturing, compliance and legal considerations are always important. Every business is going to want to make sure that they cover their ass. That was something that was very instrumental in my experience because I've worked for very large businesses, was making sure that we didn't do anything that was non-compliant or was advertising falsely. That's something that businesses need to factor in as well. So that's another piece of content that I want you guys to study and master because you can incorporate it into your sales pitches. Longer conversations will lead to more relationships that will lead to higher conversion. You have to talk to people and create relationships or you're not going to be able to do business with them. These tools are designed for you to create those relationships. The next thing that I want to go to is specifically how we're reaching out to the clients.
Hold on 1 second, Sean. Lana has her hand raised.
Okay.
Sorry, one note I want to throw in here too is when we create this strategic plan for our alliance, the intent is to have this be a multi-year plan. So not like, hey, here's 1 or 2 things to work on, and here and get it over and done with. The goal is to partner with them to build this strategic plan that will be over the course of 2 or 3 years. And we would plan that out with them and work on, work hand in hand with them over the years, ideally.
Yeah, good point. Not a question. Good point. And we'll discuss that here in a minute. I'll reference back to that. It wasn't something that I was may have directly touched on, but that's good to bring up so I can touch on it specifically. I want to go to the email that we just created, the initial intro. We've been using what we called our one-pager, and the strategy that we've been implementing may or may not be familiar because we have new team members. But this is an introduction it's a little bit more general, but it also identifies a little bit more specifically about what a client can expect from doing business with Second Team. It touches on expertise, a holistic, meaning a wide approach, a proven results, continuous improvement, discusses our digital strategy. The audit and assessment is key. We have an 1,100 point audit. It does take a couple of days at the moment for us to complete. We want to be offering that to clients who we feel have a real interest in doing business with us. It's not just say, okay, are you interested in doing digital marketing services? Okay, we have a 1,100 point audit that we're going to run on your business. That's not the way that we're going to do this. We have to identify, as we just indicated on some of those questions that we just outlined, what it is the business is particularly looking for. I want you to create as much of a relationship as you can. And once we've identified the pain points and friction points of that business, that's when we can go into offering them an audit. And that will give us all of the necessary information we need to determine what it is that they're doing well, how they can improve, things that they're ignoring completely, things that they're focusing on too much, their design of their website, the strategy that they're implementing on social media, if it's effective. All of those different things will be included in the audit that we will run for businesses, and that will occur after most likely either I or Richard have had a conversation with that client to see how serious they are and whether it's worth investing the 2 or 3 days of our team's work, because it costs money to invest in doing that audit. Market and competitor analysis, I already touched on that. I want you to read through this introduction email. This is something that we're going to use for clients that we're identifying on our different methods of outreach. So now is a good time for me to go over what those methods are, like I discussed in our interviews. The first one's Google. The second one is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I want us to look, we can segment different businesses based on how much revenue they're doing and how many employees they have. And it's also an easy way to find gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are what we call those who make the decisions when it comes to digital marketing. All right, so I want to be able to figure out who makes those decisions. I don't want to talk to an entry-level salesperson about their marketing. I want to talk to a marketing executive. I want to talk to a CEO, general manager, those three, or if they have a marketing department, whoever manages that marketing department. We want to find who those gatekeepers are. Once we've sent out this initial email, I want to go to our secondary email. And this is the one pager that we have. Adam, if you can pull up Sunrise Landscaping Company as an example of one that I did personally. If you can pull that up. This is much more company specific. And it's also attention to the gatekeeper. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's take a moment, step back just 1 second. LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We can
let's
do
stay
Sales
on here.
Navigator.
All right, so LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I found actually is going to be a very useful tool because we can create different lists of companies in specific industries who are doing specific amounts of revenue, a range, and how many employees they have. I think I've already created some lists, which Adam I think he's pulling up now. I believe I created a list. These are different companies in a certain segmentation bracket that were doing 1 to 10 million in annual revenue, and that were in certain different industries. If you scroll down and you can actually look at the industry field, you can add or you can delete different industries. You see right there, it's a little hard for me to see, but marketing, IT, if you want to read out a couple of them, Adam, but you can pick which industries you want to target, and you can pick the size of the company that you want to target. Those are companies that I want to find the gatekeeper for. So if you, let's just say you click on the pink one, Adam. Here's their LinkedIn sales page. It shows how many employees they have. So I would look at that company. I would type in Sales Hub. I would find out who was most likely to be able to point me in the right direction of a decision maker. And I would send them the next email, which is going to be the one pager. The third approach that we're going to use is still on LinkedIn, but it's also looking at employers who are looking to hire for digital marketing or sales strategy. And most of those positions are in the 6-figure range. We're going to be looking to convince these companies that why would you want to pay one person to do one job when you can have a team of 40 qualified and in different sects of digital marketing and sales strategy for a fractional price. Now, I want you to be careful when you're discussing price, because they might only be offering $50,000 a year, and the work that they want done is going to cost them $100,000. Doesn't make sense to post an ad for one job when you need them to do 8 and you want to spend half the money. But again, businesses don't really know what they need and how much it's going to cost until you inform them. So we're going to look at different employers who are hiring for those positions, and we're going to offer them an alternative using our services, getting a fully inclusive, full service digital marketing team and sales consultant strategy company for the price of one employee. To me, that seems like a no-brainer. The third strategy we're going to implement.
Really good example of that, just real quick. So there's a director of performance marketing. It's a full-time directorship position, 200 to 250,000 a year. This company has 10,000 plus. It's not even they're not even saying who the company is, but it's a 10,000 plus employee IT and consulting firm. Shauna Baird is the recruiting manager for this particular position, which means that she's also the recruiting manager for all the positions that they're hiring, right? And because of Sales Navigator, you can go right in and message her, send her our one pager, right in here through LinkedIn, attach it, done.
We've tried to make this very simple, as easy as possible, so that anybody with any sales experience, even if they're not savants when it comes to digital marketing, that they can use their sales strengths to perform outreach while they're learning the specifics of digital marketing. That's the way that we've designed this entire sales strategy. We don't expect you to know every detail of sales. If you look at our one pager, which Adam's going to pull up now or in a second, there are 50 different services that we're currently offering, different subtopics of website, sales channel, application, social media, digital marketing, marketing, persona, brand, and data. There are people that spend their entire careers literally just learning how to optimize websites. SEO, highly niche, highly specific, hyper specialized, like Adam likes to say. Social media, there are people who only do social media. They don't touch anything else. Digital marketing, meaning email, SMS messaging, SEO, search engine ads, content distribution, people who only do that, people who only do logo and branding, people who only do data. There are doctorates in these specific fields. To think that one person knows all of these different specifics, all of these different areas of digital marketing, is no one does. Not anybody in the field. I've been in e-commerce for over 10 years now. Adam's been in it for over 20. Richard's been in it for 15, I think. He's still a little younger than we are. Todd's been in it for 25. No one does all of this. You need a team in order to be able to offer all of these services.
Lana, you've been data for how long?
I've actually been in e-commerce since 2002.
And how long specified in just data focus?
That's an odd question, because since the beginning, for me, every job that I went to, I made sure data was the core of things, because it wasn't always that way back in the day. Usually you did multiple things. That people didn't specialize in everything. You did SEO. Well, I did SEO. I did paid search. You did all the marketing channels, took care of the websites, basically all different aspects. And then I whittled it down to, I bumped between operations and data, and then went more towards data in the last 6 to 7 years.
So there you go, right? Yeah. So in the whole 20-year career, right, in the last 6 years, you have been hyper niched and hyper focused, singularly focused,
because
right?
So mastered that specific
because
field.
Exactly, the closer you get to mastering that area, right, then you just become specialized in that one specific field, right? So it's a really unique differentiator with us guys in the sense that you have senior leadership who have done that. We've started 20 years ago having to be the person that wore all the hats, right? Then we've increased in our careers and have grown to the point where we're very specifically niched. I mean, I got bottlenecked in the last 3 years of just simply doing product management. All I do is manage a bunch of team of software developers, right? And so you got to think about it. In 2023, the only way you're going to get $100,000 expense for a year to get you everything is to get a grunt, is to get some kid that just graduated from college. And the $100,000 may seem great for them, but they're also going to be working 75, 80 hours a week, and they're probably going to quit pretty
They'll
soon.
burn out.
They're going to burn out.
They can't
afford
perform all of these services. So we have incorporated numerous different specialists to be able to help us in all of these different areas. And that's why we're alliance managers, because the alliance team is the one gathering the information from in the walls in the business and determining how we need to portray them online and what strategies we need to use to maximize the strengths that they have.
Yep.
All right. The last one that we have, and this is where I'm going to kind of get into what you mentioned, Lana, is Upwork. We need to be placing some bids on Upwork. We need to be able to get the ball rolling a little bit. So if that means that we take on businesses that are doing a little bit less in annual revenue and have a little less ad spend, we will consider doing business with them if they are the right business, meaning they are hyper ambitious. They're going to communicate. They're going to provide content and assets if that's what they need to do, that they're relaying what the messaging and branding that they want to have on their business. We will consider doing businesses with smaller projects for the time being in order to get you all paid, to get you some confidence, to get you some experience, and to get some of the digital marketing team to make the process a little bit more fluid. We want to just continue to get more experience working on new clients. So we do want you to be placing bids on Upwork. I know Sienna and Tess know how to do this. I don't know if anyone else does, but this is something that I want you guys to consider as an option as a way to get new business, is to be placing bids on what is being offered on Upwork. They're asking for specific projects. And I'm sure there's a lot of variance as to what these businesses are asking for when it comes to what proposals that they're making. The price that they have on Upwork is not necessarily the price that it will end up being in the end. I guess Upwork sets the price. Adam is a little bit more knowledgeable in Upwork. We can talk about it. I don't want to go too far off topic because
I would say anybody that really wants to do Upwork, just get with me. Tess has done some in here. Sienna's done a little bit in here. Anybody that wants to jump in and do the Upwork gig, just reach out to me on Slack and I'll set up time and get you started and get you in there so you're able to.
These are businesses that are already indicating what it is they want done.
Yeah, these are job posts.
Basically.
These are specifically job posts.
Okay. So that's a way to get some low-hanging fruit. And then the last one is Richard, who is going to be, he's my number 2.
Do you want to do this one real quick, Sean? Just show an example real quick.
Go ahead.
So golf supplies in Florida.
There you go. Okay.
Golf supply stores in Orlando. So we're on first page. We're going to just go
right under here. All right, go up. This is the important sort of median. After you get past, go down the related searches.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is after that box where it says golf stores near me, Golf Galaxy, anything under that
is dog shit.
Is open game. Is fair.
Anyone out of here. Now, if you really want to,
it's almost designed that way. It's almost designed to get people to stop there.
It is, because they've done infinite scroll now, basically. So there's no such thing anymore as like second page, third page, fourth page.
Right.
There is none of that. So really, yeah, what you've got is anybody under related searches, you can tell them they're ranking below. So what I would do is, this is because I know Orlando well enough that
Celebration. All right, here's a good one.
Club,
PXG. Right. Sure. I have their shirts. There's no reason why PXG they're the real deal. Why are they showing up that low on Google?
Yep.
That would piss the CEO and the marketing team off at PXG to know that somebody from Orlando is searching golf supply stores in Orlando and they're not higher ranked.
This is like
a company that does $100 million a year in profit.
This is a perfect example, perfect client.
$200 shirts.
They have no reason.
I get one for my birthday every year.
And they're what? One location.
Is that all listed at one location?
One location.
Yeah, their world. Everybody in the golfing world loves PXG. That's what they use. Their clubs, they use their apparel. That may be a company like Richard or I would want to go and try to target, or somebody who feels more comfortable. I mean, look at all those backlinks. I mean, they put hundreds of thousands of dollars into their website.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. They have video content. They're showing up on the second page of Google. That actually might not have been the best example.
Well, I think the Orlando is there's only one, but they're a national brand.
They are a national brand. Yeah, there's all those.
They have one.
They're international.
One office in Orlando.
I think they're international.
One office in Orlando. That's it.
Either way, I want you guys to know.
That's my whole point. That's my whole point. The Orlando, this is the perfect example because they are an international company that should be when they've got the money. This means that they're performing poorly in their SEO and they're performing poorly in their paid ads. They should be crushing Edwin Watts, crushing America. I mean, this should be a constant fight for them to be at the top. There's no reason for Golf Galaxy to be at the top.
And this is where Adam's expertise, his tent experience, he's just knowledgeable. That's why he is an expert. When I say somebody's an expert, it means that they have really experienced every facet of a particular industry. And that's what Adam has done over the course of his lengthy career. Is you see how immediately he goes into SEO. I mean, it takes him 10 seconds to figure out what a problem is with a potentially $100 million business as to why they're not showing up higher on Google. But that's for another conversation. If you go into our CRM, which everyone should have access to, now we've gotten a lot of job applicants, so that's what you're going to see on the front page. But Richard, who is my number 2, he's who you'll be reporting to, who you'll be working with directly. I want you to have very good relationships with Richard. He has a lot of experience in sales. He's probably even better at sales, phone sales, than I am. That's why that's why we brought him on board. The right word is blade. He is a blade when it comes to creating relationships and selling digital marketing. That is his area of expertise, as well as being a strong businessman in general. But he is invested into a lead generation team that has provided us with leads for companies that are in the $1 to $50 million annual revenue stage, and has gatekeeper direct contact info. I don't even know how he did it, but they're in our CRM.
Sean, so, what was the thing that you the tag that you gave for anyone that was a candidate as opposed to one of Richard's leads?
Opportunity?
No, you named them something else. You said all the applicants you can find.
Subscribers. We're going to work, I labeled all of the job applicants as subscribers. These are also people that we may end up working with in the future if we need more as we scale. That we're going to even need more on the digital marketing side. That's not for purposes of this phone call, but that's why they're in the CRM, because everybody who applied, I want to keep on file. I responded to almost every one of them, unless they were highly specialized, and Lana and Todd and Adam can look them. But if you can filter through the subscribers, you'll get just leads. Now, Richard is going to assign these leads on his discretion.
Yeah, I'll create
It's going to be based on how well you're grasping the concepts, how well you're grasping the content, meaning the scripts, how much effort you're putting into making phone calls, how many no's you're getting are going to give you more yeses on how many leads that he's going to assign on the CRM, because one of these businesses can change your life. One of these contracts could be a complete game changer. If you can say that you worked with one of these businesses, you were their head alliance manager working with Second Team Consulting, that could be a highlight on your resume. Whether you continue to work with us long-term, which we hope, or not, those are life-changing opportunities. So they'll be assigned appropriately. So that's really kind of the strategy, the tools. Oh, and here is some examples of our work. I'm not going to go into all of it. We have it on Google Drive. I've compiled some of the marketing material. I've gotten some people say, where are our example works? Where they're called case studies in digital marketing. I call them example work. It's the same thing. If you pull up the Jerome Bettis website, which I like, this is something that our digital marketing team has created. If you pull up these are different landing pages. It's good work. Now, this is only the face of a website is only literally just a mask for a business. What goes on behind the scenes, the optimization of a website and the data that's being extracted. And I even heard Adam and Lana talking about pixels on competitors' websites, being able to take data from them and determine what it is that they're doing. That's really the secret sauce of a website. So our website is only about 3 weeks old. So we're going to continue to build on our website, but you have marketing material that you could easily show a potential client. This is something that we put together literally in the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have seen it before. I mean, you didn't even know what they did. Now it's fairly robust. Actually, I haven't seen it lately. That puts a smile on my face. That looks pretty good. If you go on to, I wanted them to see some of the Galina's work, Rain, some of the content that she created. Hello. Now, obviously, that's strong too. But you see how it's like building a foundation. You build the foundational pieces, and then you add to it, and you build as you go. That's why when Lana said that we only want to work with clients who want to commit to 12 to 24-month contracts, that is going to be our goal. Not necessarily our goal. That is going to be our requirement, is that businesses work with us for a certain period of time, because this isn't like flicking on a switch. You cannot go and do all of these different things and integrate a digital marketing strategy with all of the different phases, with website, sales channels, marketing, social media, data, logo, and branding. That all needs to be put together and fit together like a puzzle. And that does take some time, and it takes a commitment. And I'll probably end where I started off: trust. They have to trust us. So here's some marketing content that you can provide a client of work that our second team has done. Look at Kyle, looking strong with his beard. It's a college roommate of mine, that we have done and been able to deliver. I don't want you to be client advocates. Okay, when a client, if we're working on a project and a client says, well, I expected this or I expected that, and this is costing too much and it's costing that, you have to be on the side of the company. This is artistry in digital form and sales strategy, and it requires patience and it requires trust. And in order for us to be able to deliver, they have to be patient, but we can work together with them to deliver short-term results and long-term scale is, I think, the best way to phrase it. We will get them more business right away. We will help them convert whatever business they have. We might not even need to do anything with their digital marketing, and we can increase their business, exponentially, because they might not be using a CRM. They might not be using the HubSpot properly. And they might be getting leads and ignoring them. They might be following up with clients 3 or 4 days after they submit a lead. They might as well throw it in the trash. So we will find ways to be able to impact them immediately. But in terms of the digital marketing side, they're going to have to understand that this is done on there's a plan in place, and there are different phases. We require them to pay 50% upfront, and anything remaining they pay over installments. So if it's a $100,000 job, they pay $50,000 upfront, and they pay the remaining $50,000 over the 12-month span, for example. So I want to introduce Richard. He is highly qualified. Richard. We have two. We got to identify that. We'll all have a chance. I want everybody to be able to get in, like I said, writing down what were the objections you're facing and what do you not feel confident in selling. That's where we're going to wrap around. But I want Rich to at least have a moment, because you guys will be working directly under him. I'm always available, but I'm putting together a team, and I'm trying to work also with the digital marketing side so that we're all on the same page. I only have so much bandwidth. So Richard is going to be our head of alliances. He'll be the one that you're working underneath of directly. So I'll give him a minute to introduce himself, see and offer what his vision is and what his short-term strategy is going to be, and how we can get business right away. I want us to leave this phone call feeling confident that we can get on the phone tomorrow and we can make 50 phone calls. And I want to, see some effort, see some work in our CRM, see some of the results, the fruits of our labor. We can't help you unless we know what you're facing. And 10 phone calls, 10 bids on Upwork, that's just not enough of a sample size for us to even be able to help you. You really have to dig in. You have to do the work for us to be able to be effective. And we're counting on you guys. We really have to. The sensitivity of putting together the digital marketing side and the sales side, the hardest thing was trying to put them together simultaneously to get everything working at the same time. So we're really counting on you to get us some business, get us some activity, so we can fuel our growth. So Richard, I'll give it to you for a second, let you go ahead and introduce yourself and what your vision is. Is he there? Adam?
Yeah, Richard's still on the call and he is unmuted, but we're not hearing him if he's talking.
He was having a lot of connection issues before we got on the call, so he might be able to hear us. He might be listening. He conveyed to me what ideally he wants to do. He'd like to touch base with each of you directly, 15, 20 minutes, if not 30 minutes. He wants to converse with you on Slack also, and he'll go over individually with you what he brings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Is it crackling? Or
that's pretty good.
How is it?
Pretty good on my end. Sorry about that. But yeah, thanks, Sean. Okay. I won't keep you guys because I know we're cutting this short here. But yeah, you guys, Sean made some really good points based off of the type of strategies we want to move forward and move the company forward, and obviously close clientele. Briefly, I've been in sales for quite a while, sales management, sales engagement, client relations. I think that's my skill set. I'm currently working on a book of business that I've previously done business with, reaching out to them, engaging with them to bring them on board. But a point Adam made, what we're going to be looking for, I'm going to be working hand in hand with you guys as well. But what we're mainly looking for and how we see the vision is three things that Adam pointed out the other night is high activity, high volume, and a realistic target. And with those, the better you get with the industry, you're learning the verbiage, you're learning the competitors, it'll be maybe less activity, maybe less dials because you can close on a higher end. But while you're gaining the knowledge of the industry, the product, the services that we actually do, there's going to be someone that needs what we have to offer. So Absolutely. With the market, it's not a huge market for what we do. There are a lot of competitors that do that, but we do have a chance getting in this now, and we're expanding our outreach. We're reaching out to multiple people, staying consistent, touching bases. There's going to be a high chance that we close based off of the amount of effort that we're putting in, based off of a lot of the emphasis that we're putting into this. When we say activity, we mean engagement, emails, voicemails you're leaving, and then exactly, Adam, and then also the volume. So it takes you about 5 minutes to make 5 or 6 calls. Now, when we get on the call and it leads to a good conversation, are we leaving that email inside HubSpot? Sean, he's a busy guy. Adam's a busy guy. But as soon as we get a client that's ready to talk about, hey, what's the next step? We'll drop everything to get on that board because we're on the same team to obviously scale and grow. So that's my job here. I want to meet you guys. Rich, welcome on board. Glad to see your face, man. Super excited to dive into it because I'm going to be putting in just same amount of effort, if not more, as we scale and grow. Just to touch bases on the lead structure, Sean talked about it briefly. So I do have a lead generation team that I partner with for a number of years. I started a real estate business, partnered with them there. Previous to that, I was working at a tech firm, and we were actually closing deals based off of the leads that I was bringing in. The leads that they had were trash. They weren't really vetting these guys. They weren't really getting the right type of decision makers that we would need to even meet with. So it's going to be 4 categories for right now. It's automotive, construction, retail, and real estate. So I'm going to meet briefly with you guys, but what I'm going to do now, because once again, we're running against it. I'm going to send you guys individually
Nice.
Slack emails so that
Nice.
way I can see where you're comfortable, how much time, and based off of the activity, the engagement, the effort, I can divvy up those leads, and it's going to have everything in it: the email, gatekeeper, everything of that nature. So excited to work with you guys. Good to have you guys on board, and let's go ahead and I'm going to pass it to Adam so we can go ahead and wrap up here, so we don't go over the
Perfect.
time frame.
Yeah, and one more thing before we do that, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity. We'll do it by seniority. I want to know if the question that you guys wrote on your piece of paper, was it answered?
Oh, good.
We'll start with Sienna because I think she
Dropped.
She dropped. So, Rena,
Rianne.
do you have that question? Was it answered? She's on mute. I
Yeah,
think. You're here?
yeah, my question was answered.
Okay. Is there any other questions that you had?
No, there wasn't.
Really? Okay.
Nailed it, Sean.
Rich?
Yeah, I came in a little late, but I was just wondering, I guess where is the compendium of all of this stuff? Where we would get the one pager? Is there like it's all in Drive or
I'll get it all. I'll get it all to you guys. We're gonna get NDAs out in the morning. And it's very fast. It's very simple. It's a very simple NDA non-compete. I'm available if you have questions about it. I'll make sure that I'm available to answer them before you sign it. But it's a really simple DocuSign. It's going to come from DocHub, and you can just digitally sign it, get it back to us. As soon as that's done, we'll get all of the access to all the organized folders in Drive, and then they'll just be consistent, new materials that Sean and Richard will evangelize to you guys. Yeah, we'll get that wrapped up by tomorrow, Rich.
It's Rianne. I apologize. I said Rianne. I thought I said Rianne.
You said
And
Rena?
as soon as we get that over to, I normally speak with Sean and Adam, and normally Adam gives his ideas, which is always brilliant. And I'll go ahead and implement them to you guys. So once we get new material, if we get any time throughout the week that I want to come on maybe a weekly meeting where it's maybe 15, 30 minutes, whatever I talk to Sean about, I'll be able to bring on new material to you guys. We'll discuss it. And then we can actually dive at it. And then obviously following later in the week, we can see what's on the board, what we may have challenges with, what can me and Sean jump into, when will we need to bring Adam into a deal and actually scale. As long as it's high activity, the services that we provide, we're going to have a high level of closing and making really good money here for sure.
No doubt. There's no doubt. Okay, I wanted to just address everybody, and of course, because half of you guys are going to be just watching this video. So Sienna, I'm sorry that you had to drop, but so Sienna, Tess, we understand there was a time zone conflict, not a problem at all.
Yeah, we put this together quick.
It was quick. It was meant to be a totally different type of call, and so appreciate those of you guys who made it. I appreciate you guys watching. Keith just joined. Super excited to get to finally meet you when we get a chance to do that. I'm sorry that first time you're meeting us is going to be on a video recording. Todd is going to watch this because he wasn't able to join us. A couple of the rest of you guys, I want to just give tremendous credit and appreciation to Sean putting this meeting together. Phenomenal job, Lana and Todd, for all the work they did in the last literally 48 hours, putting all the materials together, getting them organized for us. So Sean, just amazing job. It was a really great call. I got excited. I got pumped up again and excited to go and sell. And Richard, we're just so excited to have you. I feel like it's just a really incredible thing to have someone brand new to the family. Lana and I have history. Sean and I have history. Sienna has history with us. Anusha, Galena, there's a ton of company members that have history. Myself and Todd go back almost a decade at this point, 8 years, I think. So it's incredible, Richard, to have someone brand new to the family feel so comfortable to have you. You know, I want you to understand, putting my entire company in your hands and trusting you with our scaling. It's an incredible honor. I'm super excited to have you, and I appreciate all the work that you've been doing behind the scenes. The rest of you guys who will be working under Richard, you know, not only do you get to work under Richard, you get to work under Richard, who is working under Sean and Todd. You know, you guys have a phenomenal leadership team. Go to them, hit them with the hard questions, ask them the difficult questions. You know, I love what Richard just said, what Sean and Richard both just said. We can't help you if we don't know what you need, right? And I'm going to leave you with this last little thing. So I got into automotive retail, holy Jesus shit, like almost 18 years ago at this point. And Sean loves to talk about this, and so I steal from it all the time. You know, it's easy to sit down at a dealership that has a big giant Toyota badge on the front. And when you're selling a car that has a Toyota badge on it, it doesn't really matter what price it is. At the very lowest budget, at the very highest budget, there's a product that's going to fit, and that trust is already baked in, right? 50, 60 years now. Anybody that wants a Toyota, they know they have a reason that they want that Toyota. It's reliability, it's trust. But 20 years ago, a shitty little Korean company came onto the scene, and nobody should have ever believed in them, especially when Saturn failed, when all of the 80s and 90s manufacturer blowouts failed. Kia was insane to come to the United States and say, hey, American dealerships, we want to sell you a franchise and sell our Korean cars that are about 12% cheaper than the cheapest Honda and the cheapest Toyota. And our price points are amazing. You don't, it's okay if you have a Toyota store, you can have a Kia store. It's okay if you have a Porsche store, you can have a Kia store. Who wants a Kia store? And I want you guys to think about this. There were enough crazy, psychotic, capitalistic, money-hungry motherfuckers out there that said, yes, I'll give you millions of my dollars in debt in order to buy your non-existent brand that nobody knows what the fuck it's going to do, if it's going to catch on fire, if it's going to last 400,000 miles. They're ugly as shit. They're uglier than a Toyota Corolla, and Toyota Corollas back then were completely dog shit ugly. But I don't want you to think about anything other than this. Selling the Toyota badge is easy. Selling the Volvo badge is easy. Selling the Porsche brand is pretty easy. I don't know, ask Todd. Selling Kia, not only 20 years ago, but even today, selling Kia took balls. Okay? And someone, more than a few dozen idiots, believed in the promises and the value, because the engineers and the finance teams and the supply chain logistics team that was Kia at that time, the little Korean automotive maker, figuring out how to get their cars sold in the United States, enough dealerships believed in the engineering team and the finance teams and the supply chain teams that they said, I'll take a chance. And those salespeople were the craziest of all the motherfuckers out there, because if I know that I'm only going to make my living selling units of cars, and I have a choice between selling Toyota or trying to sell someone a Kia, I'm picking Toyota every single time. But there were thousands of salespeople back then that said, you know what? This is an opportunity, not a hindrance. I don't need the badge. I'm going to use the badge to sell this badge. And that's where we are right now, guys, is we're Kia 20 years ago. What I mean by that is you have a brilliant team of engineers and senior leaders that know what we're doing. We know the product that we're able to deliver. We are, if you really want to boil it down into the simplest of things, go look up fractional resources. What we are doing is selling fractional work. So for $100,000 annual budget, we will take care of every single aspect of a digital strategy that is needed for a client to succeed in that space. And we will break up that $100,000 over every single job and task and resource that needs to be done in order for them to win. Okay? That's the business. That's the secret sauce. That's what we do, is we make that budget stretch right to the very threshold of what's affordable for that business, right? And that's what we sell. And because I come from all kinds of Fortune 500, Lana comes from Fortune 500, Richard, Sean, Todd, Galena, Anusha, Ajith, all come from Fortune 500, right? We know what we're doing. This is the Kia engineer team of 20 years ago, and you guys have the next Toyota at your fingertips. That's what you're selling, right? That's what you're selling. You guys are the crazy motherfuckers that are selling Kia 20 years ago, and I love every one of you and appreciate all of you for what you're doing. I can't thank you enough. My kids and my grandkids will be the ones thanking all of you. You know, we set up the pay plan that we did on purpose because we want people that are hungry and see that, you know what, I'm going to go sell 30 clients a year at $100,000 minimum threshold. I'm going to make $350,000, maybe $400,000 this year just selling marketing, right? Just selling digital strategy. And I'm going to spend about half of my time on vacation next year, right? We did it on purpose. All we need you guys to do is put the activity in. Just put the activity in. Don't give a shit about the no's and just look for the yeses. There are thousands of people that want to hire us. We just have to find them.
They're not even that hard to find. They just need to be convinced, a lot of them, that they have to modernize. They have to make this pivot. They have to prioritize digital marketing, or they're not going to succeed. It's really that simple. All right, so let's go get them.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right, you guys have a good evening, and
Thanks,
look out for
everybody. We'll talk to you in
look out for your Slacks and your emails so I can schedule one-on-one with you guys, and we can just have at it. Have a great evening.
You got it.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.